na Jumatatu saa 4 asubuhi kwa liturujia Katoliki na Padre Boniface Mukwe.
Sent into you called the Psycho-Spiritual Well-Being, where we discuss issues of how to take care of our biopsychosocial techno-spiritual self. My name is Father Jose Pius Egunjobi, and I'm your host. Today, we'll be talking about this issue that has arisen from the time of COVID-19, especially when we saw the way our family members and friends are being treated, especially those who died in the process of the infection. And the family members cannot actually attend the burials, or if they are limited. Some people are not even allowed to see their parents because of the travels and many other things that go on during this COVID-19 that we are still in today. So a lot of people have some kind of mixed feeling, some kind of emotion that is attached to it that we don't know exactly what to do. Today, I have with me Dr. Stephen Asasa, who is the acting HOD of the Department of Counseling Psychology at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. And he's also a professional in the area of child development, a researcher in the area of indigenous knowledge, trauma, and social media. Here with me, I welcome Dr. Stephen Asasa. How are you?
I'm well, Father.
You want to say hi to our...
Hi, viewers. Thank you so much for being available to listen to this conversation today.
Thank you. So, Doctor, I was just talking about during this COVID, there's a lot of things that actually happened. It's so sad we have to lose a lot of people. Maybe not too many in Africa, but in other areas. But in Africa also we have the hint of it. In Kenya in particular, we have a lot of issues of death as well. And a lot of families are deprived of seeing their dead ones. Some have not, they just, because people die, they just put them into the grave, and a lot of people are hurting because of that. You know what burial is for us in Africa. I know you are here to talk to us about issue of grief, complicated grief as a result of COVID-19 protocols. So, Doctor, what is grief in the first place?
Yeah, grief is an emotion or a reaction to a loss. When you lose something, it could be through death, it could be losing something that you attach value to, it could be loss of an election. All that, when you lose something, there is a feeling that comes with that. The reaction you bring out is what we refer to as grief.
So, meaning that even when I'm just talking about those who lose their life, that's not just the thing. People who lost their jobs, some people's marriages are actually broken because of the COVID, because the tension, begin to rise up in the family, where you can run away before from having problem in the house to work. Now you are stuck in the house, and then a lot of divorces actually happen. Research has shown that. So it means grief also can go in that area.
Yeah, it touches quite a number of issues and a number of areas in life. As you are saying, even divorce, even the death of a pet. If you had a cat and it dies, death of a child, loss of a job, sometimes even loss of a particular age group when you are transiting from youth to old age. You can also experience grief. Sometimes when you have a part of your body, like a hand being amputated, that can also be lost.
Yeah, but I'm interested in that area of transition.
Yeah.
How come grieving during the transition from adulthood or youthful to adulthood or adulthood to old age?
It's a loss, and you see how, just take an example of transiting from youthfulness to adulthood. You've seen people even trying to use color to when the hair is turning white, they try to use color to. That's a reaction.
Like myself now.
Yes, you as I see you are transiting well because you are not trying to interfere with that. But some people really, they experience some kind of lost feelings because now how is my hair changing? So they keep trying to color it so that they remain in the youthful stage. So that's actually a loss that they are processing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the processing of loss that causes this, that we call grief.
Yeah.
How is it different from being sad?
When we talk about sadness, it comes like, it is a from general life things. Like, I can be sad because I did not get the job I wanted. I can be sad because someone maybe said something to me that was not pleasing. But when we talk of grief, then there is a particular cause to that. Grief, whatever the thing that is causing grief is a loss. That's how you find the difference between grief and other emotions like sadness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I lose something, like we just talked about, losing a loved one, losing even my pet, losing my job during this period, losing my wife out of the separation or divorce, losing a child, and of course we are focusing on COVID right now. So at what point do we say this feeling or this emotion that is attached to loss is grief? At what point? Because we always lose something, and we always feel sad about what we lose. So at what point do we say it is grief?
When I long for that thing, when I'm longing and looking for the thing that is lost, I've not accepted it, or the loss has happened, but I'm still in the process of searching and trying to recapture what I've lost, then that's one way that grief is exhibiting itself. But again, I would say it's not that when you go through a loss, there'll be some moment, then another moment comes now when you say, now this is when I'm grieving. Immediately you lose something, you start grieving. Immediately you lose, you start grieving. So it's not like some things will happen for now grief to set in. But now when you go to, that's the normal way that people react. And that's what I would wish to make clear, that grief is normal way of reacting. Yeah.
It's normal.
Yes.
Okay.
But now when you are introducing the talk, you are talking about complicated grief.
Okay.
That's now something different from the normal grief that we are
Okay,
experiencing.
so tell us this difference.
Yeah, when someone is experiencing grief, they'll have similar symptoms like those of complicated grief. But now when we talk of complicated grief, it is like you have overstayed with these symptoms. Usually it is placed at like 6 months. It is over 6 months since you lost whatever you've lost, but you are still clinging on it, and then it has started affecting your day-to-day living.
Okay.
If the grief is now making you not to go to work, if grief is making you now not to sleep, if grief is making you now not to eat, and for that long period of time, then now that raises a red flag. That's not a normal way of grieving, and that's when now we call it complicated grief.
Does it have to do anything with any relationship with depression?
Depression would come in as a symptom of that. So depression can actually be another emotion that is coming in as a symptom of complicated grief. Yeah.
Okay, so when it goes a longer
period.
When I'm grieving beyond the normal.
Yes, and more intense.
So how is that in your experience during this COVID? What can you say?
In the period of COVID, first I would say, it's a very ripe period for complicated grief, because as you explained from the beginning, in our culture, the African culture, I'll talk about that because that's where we are. When someone dies, there is a process of mourning as we try to accept the loss of this person, or when I lose something. But now we are seeing when COVID comes in, then this has been affected. The government issued protocols and said only 15 people in a funeral. So already it blocks some people from going to the funeral. Yet attending funeral is one key way of helping someone to process grief. The government said initially you cannot view the body. So the body comes from the mortuary when it's already sealed. So even if they are children, they cannot see their parents, or parents, they cannot see their dead child. And so that brings complication. And the limiting of the number of people in the funerals it also interferes because culturally we have ways of responding to grief. There are rituals that people do in their respective cultures. Now that has been interfered with. Now when you remove all those normal ways of processing grief that communities have set in place, then of course you will interfere with the way people are processing grief, and now that is likely to bring about complicated grief.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I see. So, and when that happens, because like I was looking at that too, if of course the way people react to things are different, but many of us in Africa, we tend to we have an attachment. In my culture, we talk about my child is dead is better than my child is lost. Mm-hmm. Because if it's dead, it helps me to grieve properly, to know that this is a reality, than when I don't. So if the corpse of the person is being brought wrapped and I don't even know whether it's my child or not, could there be not something telling me that, am I really sure it's my child they said is dead?
Yeah, actually that increases denial, because what you are saying is denial. Now reacting to grief with denial. Your child is dead, but then it's wrapped in the paper, so you can't even confirm if it's the child. So it actually delays the time that you'll be grieving, because you have first of all not come to terms and believed truly it is my child that we buried. You may take some even months thinking maybe it is someone else's child. But in the normal times before COVID, then parents or people were allowed to view the bodies. Viewing the bodies is one way of confirming that my person is dead. So it actually facilitates acceptance that the person is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, viewers, I think you are enjoying this program. Again, it's a program called Psycho-Spiritual Wellbeing. And when we come back, we'll still be with Dr. Asasa, the acting HOD of the Counseling Psychology Department at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. So he will be telling us, okay, what are the effects of this grief in our lives? And of course, is there anything we can do to actually get out of this? Because whatever has happened during COVID has happened. People have been buried without being present. But what can we do to get out of it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you know that Breast Cancer Awareness Month started on Thursday, 1st October and ends on Saturday, 31st this month? Mater Misericordia Hospital and the Sisters of Mercy have organized a free breast and cervical cancer screening on 18th October 2020 at the Well Karen, first floor, starting from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information, contact us on 0722 318 149 or visit our website www.matakenya.com. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Mater Misericordia Hospital cares.
Kipaimara ni sakramenti yenye kumpa Mkristo Roho Mtakatifu na ukamilifu wa mapaji yake 7, kumfanya Mkristo mkamilifu na kumfanya shahidi hodari wa Yesu Kristo mpaka kufa.
Kupata kipaimara kama skiza tuni yako, tuma neno skiza likifuatwa na nambari 738100272 kwa 811. Liturujia Katoliki, sakramenti, kuungama, ekaristi, sala, nyimbo, neno la Mungu, ibada takatifu. Jiunge nasi kila siku ya Jumapili saa 1:30 usiku na Jumatatu saa 4 asubuhi kwa liturujia Katoliki na Padre Boniface Mukwe.
Our masses will start from 6 o'clock in the evening East African Time.
Capuchin TV, a Catholic Broadcasting Ministry. Tuna furaha kukujulisha kwamba misa takatifu ya kila siku ni kama ifuatavyo: saa 1 kamili asubuhi, saa 7:30 mchana, saa 12 jioni na saa 2:30 usiku.
Go forth, the mass is ended.
Thanks be to God.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, tunakuenzi na kukudhamini.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV.
Yeah, welcome back, viewers. Again, you have been with us where we are treating the issue of complicated grief during the COVID-19 protocol, and you have been with me here, Dr. Asasa, who has been taking us through the process of grief, and actually have grief as been experienced during this COVID-19 pandemic, especially as when we look at the issue of the policy that is there, that when we have a loss, maybe of a loved one, of a job, of something during this period, and we ended up with the issue of a complicated grief. So, doctor, how does grief affect us? Can it affect us physically? Can it affect us mentally? Can it affect even our spirituality?
Yes, grief affects the person holistically. So we are looking at it as an emotion, but it affects the entire person. If we take a few things on the physical part, first we said grief can affect the sleeping patterns.
Okay.
So you find you spend either a lot of time sleeping, or you spend very little time asleep, and the rest of the time you are doing other things. When it gets to that, then we know there is a connection between lack of sleep and low immunity. Mm-hmm. So already that is turning to be physical, and so that will even expose someone to other diseases, because then the immunity is compromised. Mm-hmm. To some people, they even experience things like loss of appetite, stomach disturbances, sometimes even headache. So it comes physically like that.
So with a bunch of things.
Yes.
Oh my God.
The spiritually, and that's one of the areas that is normally hit very, very, very badly, because many times when someone is sick, people are praying and telling God, please heal this person. Then now the person comes and dies. What would happen is someone's faith in God may actually shake. Someone asks so many questions, asking God, where were you when my person died? Sometimes people even normally react and change their faith. They say, now I have seen one person who came up and said they don't even believe that God exists. So that's a very big part that is touching on someone's spirituality. When we look at the other part,
before you leave that area,
yeah.
Could it be okay? Now, at what point now? Okay, somebody just lost somebody. Of course, I've been praying, God, you can do this, and I'm begging my faith, like, God, you just have to do this for me. And then here the person dies. So a kind of feeling disappointed, comes with grief then, right? And I'm like, so God cannot help me. So why should I serve that God? And then they change totally.
Yeah.
So is it about God or about I don't know.
It's when I look at that, of course, it will go in different phases. Immediately after the grief, that's what people ask. Actually, many grieving people, they're asking God questions. Where were you, God? How come you didn't heal? But again, when someone has now processed the grief, some people now turn out to be even stronger now in faith.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can go back to being strong in faith.
Yes. But if someone is also not helped, if they're asking those questions, God, where were you? And they also don't find help. Some people can totally go away and yes, say like God is not there.
So then, sorry for cutting you in. You were trying to explain some other more, maybe on the mental health.
Yeah, cognitive. I was just going to cognitive, the way we think. because after, like, assuming it is the loss of a child, it's more painful for a parent when a child dies than to a child when the parent dies.
Okay.
It's like the law of nature expects that the older ones will die first. So when a parent loses a child, then you see that will hit the parent even more. Some parent that will even affect the way they parent another child who will come after that one. And even affecting their thinking. They may now say, maybe if the child was in a particular school, some people may say it is that school. Some people start saying, if the child, maybe it was a death of accident, the child was hit by a car, you'll see someone even developing reactions of now not being able to use a car because they think this is the one that killed my child, so it can also kill me. So you see, when it comes to that level, then it's already taking part a lot of weight on your cognitive capabilities.
So now, if it affects us holistically, and like you said at the beginning, it is normal. I mean, it's part of the normal human reactions to feel this grief. Of course, we all have at one point and the other lose something, and then it becomes complicated when the emotional reaction goes longer than expected. Now, and then we are talking about COVID-19 period during this pandemic, and we see what is happening. I think things are changing a little bit, not before. So if the government should have done something, done anything at all to prevent this complicated grief, what could it have been?
Yeah, for me, I think when COVID came, it was also a new thing. So the government was panicking, everybody was panicking. So you can see, that's why even they started and said 15 people for a funeral, because the dead body can transmit. But then recently they also came and said, no, we have realized it doesn't. You see now, they are now also beginning to reason. So for me, they would have allowed at least, even if they limited the number of people going to funeral, but the part of blocking the family to see the dead body, that was a bit very harsh. And even the participating, sometimes when they are burying the body, people used to get soil. They throw them in the grave. That's
ritual.
A way of helping the person to know, now I'm saying goodbye.
Bye.
But now if you are burying my person and you are telling me, please go away because you can be infected, you know, at the end, that picture still remains in my mind. So if the government would have maybe looked at the immediate family, just to allow them to pass or to go through some rituals that they normally do for their loved ones, so that they feel they have sent off their person well. I remember one case that someone was buried at night, and in the morning the family was saying, we will exhume that body and bury them with respect. So they felt like our person has not been buried with respect.
But considering the nature of COVID, being infectious,
I was looking at when I looked at the way they were burying the people. There are actually other human beings who are burying. And the ones who are also being blocked are also human beings. So my thought was like, why wouldn't we take the protective gear and give the family and allow them to participate?
Yes.
Because that is possible. If the same equipment is being given to others to bury my person, I think if I was given the same equipment, possibly that would have helped to...
I think even with the protective gear, they say, because I'm talking about the infection, even with that, you know, that traumatized a lot of people.
Yes.
The way people, they were dressed up to bury this person was like already, it was like a trauma for a lot of people. And I have a community where they have that kind of experience, and it's not fun at all. So in the future, what can we do?
In the future, because when I look at the protocols, I also thought they are coming from somewhere. It is World Health Organization saying, but then there was total disregard to the community where the person has died. So I'm saying maybe in future, yes, we listen to what WHO is saying, but we also come and see how do we integrate it with what is happening on the ground, so that you don't bring a protocol and then just impose.
So we're too overreacting.
Yes.
Yeah. Now with the family that are affected, what can we do to help them? through this process of grief?
Yeah, first I would say grief normally like gets over with several things. Sometimes time alone can heal. When the more you spend time, the more you heal. But still, we cannot just say time alone. Families can now reach out, and you see another complication that was there. The places where families also normally rush to get support, like church. Church was also closed that time. So the whole social support system was shut. But now churches are open. So I would tell families here, they can now go to churches, share with someone. They can also look for professional help, especially those who are feeling they are experiencing symptoms of complicated grief, where you are like in serious searching for the person, always wishing to be with the person, your sleep has been disrupted, the sadness is very much prolonged. I think when you have those symptoms, then there is psychological help. You can also reach out so that you can have a professional work with you through that so that it can be able to be resolved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the professionals, so they can reach out, is it possible for the professionals also to reach out to communities?
Yes, professionals could also reach to communities, like through churches. Churches can invite people. Now I'm seeing schools are opening. If teachers realize their children who have reported are having issues of grief, they could actually invite professionals to talk to them in general, and also do individual sessions.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for this enlightenment. I see we have been just told that, grief is natural, but it becomes something else when it becomes complicated grief, right? And then, we can still get out of it. It's not forever. It's just for us to, if you know you can't handle it on your own, because there are some people, like I'm hearing him say, Dr. Asasa saying, it can just, over time, I get over it. But there are some people that get fixated with that period. Please look for help. You can look for help in your faith-based communities, or you look for a professional counselor to actually through this process so that it doesn't affect every part of your life. Thank you once again, Dr. Asasa, who is the acting, HOD at the Department of Counseling Psychology, Catholic University of Eastern Africa. Thank you for coming. My name remains Jose Pius Egwindobi, Reverend Father, and I'm the host of this program at this Capuchin Television. This program runs every week on Thursday, 2:30 p.m. East African Time. 2:30 p.m. East African Time. Looking forward to see you again next week with another topic that you will like and will be very interesting.
Our masses will start from 6 o'clock in the evening, East African time.
Capuchin TV, a Catholic Broadcasting Ministry. Tuna furaha kukujulisha kwamba misa takatifu ya kila siku ni kama ifuatavyo: saa 1 kamili asubuhi, saa 7 unusu mchana, saa 12 jioni na saa 2 unusu.